Today we're talking about film festivals.
That adds color to the story.
Roll sound. Cameras rolling.
Welcome to Butter City, show all about filmmaking with a Minnesota twist. Today in the studio we have Carrie Boberg. Thanks, Carrie, for being here.
Yeah, no problem.
So, Carrie, you're a director and you're making your feature debut with this film, Life of Riley.
Yes.
But before that, I mean, you're housed up in Duluth.
Yes.
And that's sort of where you originally grew up, right?
Actually, I'm from Austin, Minnesota.
Oh, okay.
Spamtown, USA. And I went to UMD to go to school.
In the theater department?
Yep. And then I left for a while, and then I came back, and it's where I feel, yeah, that's home. Definitely.
So what was it that first drew you to, I mean, I know you got your start as an actress.
Yes.
So what drew you to this, the part of acting that got you into filmmaking?
You know, I did acting from such a very young age, and singing and performing and all that, and I knew that's what I wanted to study when I went to college, and I loved it, and, you know, that was the passion. And then after graduation, I moved out to LA with who then would become my producing partner to do the acting thing and, you know, find the Hollywood dream somewhere. And disillusionment comes pretty quickly in LA if you're not built a certain way and look a certain way and know the right people. And after doing years of student films and auditions where 50 other people are there that look like you, and or not being called for auditions at all, you know, not finding an agent, whatever. He and I just decided to start making our own films and see what would happen. So that's kind of, we took some classes at AFI and did some technical stuff at Promax and said, screw it, let's do it on our own.
Well, I'm glad you did, because you've now, I mean, you've produced a lot of work, but now you've also created this feature film, which I think is a great, what I've seen of it is a great story. Yeah. You know, it's great characters, and it comes out of that, you know, that story of going out to LA and deciding that you wanna craft your own story. Is it so? With that acting background, when you approach a film, are you thinking about that character development? Are you thinking about how to create a film that an actor's gonna love?
Yeah, I think so, and I think that comes not inadvertently, but it is the byproduct of who I am as a person, I think. That's my strength, is working with actors. My strength is not figuring out some really cool, crazy camera angle and making you know, beautiful shots that I haven't even dreamt of. That's why I hire Mike Hartzell, you know? But I have a good rapport with actors because that's where I come from, and that's what I love doing is finding the story with the actors and helping them get that out to the camera and then to the world.
And I know in Duluth you're part of a kind of a group called 4-Track Films. Mm-hmm. Can you talk a little bit about who you guys are and what you're doing?
4-Track is really just my producing partner Jason and I, mostly. When we moved back from LA, he and I produced a film called Newton's Disease that we produced on credit cards, and it took over 3 years, and it was definitely a labor of love. And when we screened that up in Duluth, Alan Zeppa, who is known in the Duluth area as being quite an arts patron, he saw it, and he approached Jason, who he had been in some plays with, and said, I really like this film, what do you want to do? What do you want to do next? And so we kind of came up with this model for 4-Track, being kind of a lo-fi, how much can you do for little money? Mm-hmm. And that's where we started. And the goal was quite lofty and ridiculous. We were going to do like 4 micro-budget films a year. I mean, just crazy.
Wow.
Yeah, no, it was...
And there's 2 of you.
That was naive at best. So we kind of, you know, worked on the model and did some of these real low-budget $10,000 films with gear that we purchased, and just kind of begged, borrowed, and stole everything else, and nobody got paid, you know. And it started working in a sense that people started hearing about us and knowing what we were doing. And then when it was time to make a bigger picture, The Life of Riley, we went back to our benefactor and said, hey, we want to do this the right way, more the right way, better gear, more time. We want to pay our talent, we want to pay our crew, and he agreed to that. So that's kind of how we moved up our own food chain, so to speak.
Well, it's a beautiful film, but it is also that it is a lot of that story about this guy and it's a character and how he's gonna make it through life and figure out, figure out his stuff, basically.
Yeah, right.
Which is all great films, is how do people figure out their stuff.
Right.
Yeah. Let's take a look at the trailer for this film.
Okay.
For Riley, life as he knew it happened all around him, to other people.
Little people, I will remember you.
Okay, I can't wait any longer.
Life just never happened to him.
And then when she spoke to me,
So, you just gonna write her off then?
all I could do was repeat whatever she said.
Write her off. No.
No, I don't think she thought it was cute.
I'm here for moral support.
Moral support?
I see we're dealing with the elusive bank parrot.
I hate my job. Riley, don't call yourself a nobody. Did you finish your book yet?
Until he met Maggie.
Hi.
That's me.
You love her.
Yeah.
Yeah, I pretty much rocked his world.
That would be going all Lewis Carroll in your ass.
We just made sense, you know?
He doesn't look very scary, but he is.
He is.
Once two compatible people find each other in all of that, they can't let go because they might never find another one. So, what I'm trying to say is...
Will you marry me?
What? It's the wig, isn't it?
Only thing is, I have a secret that will change Riley's life forever.
Nobody knows. Nobody knows. No one can see tomorrow. No matter what.
Would you please stop hitting me with your pancake?
You can't be holding up.
It's okay. I'm with this clown.
Stress of love. Under the weight of dreams.
We're like snowflakes.
Left behind you like a home that you destroyed in no time. Smile behind the wrecking ball. Aye, aye, aye. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. Nobody wants to hear it. It's a matter of pride. It's a matter of pride.
Carrie, it's so great to see a film that's got so much of the Duluth and Superior landscape up there.
Yeah.
What was that like to be able to shoot a film like this basically at home?
Well, right. It was both Jason and I's dream for a long, long time to showcase how incredibly beautiful Duluth is, and the North Shore and that lake, which is amazing. I mean, to live on the shores of the largest freshwater lake in the world, and then yeah, and then to be able to shoot it and show it to the world. I mean, I don't think a lot of people outside of Minnesota, maybe the Midwest, kind of know about how beautiful it is up there and what a cool spot Duluth is. So it was really, really fun to be able to go to our favorite spots and to go up the shore. And we had so much awesome cooperation from everyone, from the DNR to the state parks to the Army Corps of Engineers, and just everyone was really easy to work with in getting the location. So
I was going to ask you that because I mean, Duluth's not used to having a film being shot in it.
right. Well, they're used to us now after 8 years, right? First time I called them for permits, they were like, I don't know, call
We
Park
don't
and
have a
Rec.
category for that.
And so so they're getting a little more used to it, but it's a little foreign. And plus, we know the mayor, which is kind of fun. Before we started shooting, I shot him an email and I was like, hey, we're shooting this, remember? And you said you were going to help us out. And so he directed us right away to who we needed to talk to make sure that everyone knew, from the parks people to the police to everyone. And it was it was easy after that. And then we have Ricky McManus is up there as well from the Minnesota Film Board. So any spaces we needed help with, she was great in facilitating that.
Well, it's really nice. It's nice that you're able to kind of create these productions that are up in Duluth, and at the same time, you guys have the background and the knowledge of knowing how to really pull off a professional shoot. So it's like it's a nice blend of really being able to pull in the local resources, and at the same time, it's you know you're building up a community of folks that know how to make films.
Right, and then we always have experienced people on set and then less experienced people on set. And it's, you know, one of my favorite relationships to watch on this set was again, Mike Hartzell was working with one of our PAs from UMD who is an aspiring filmmaker who had never been on a set, and he was the hardest worker we had on the set. His name's Leon, and he's just awesome. And I think he's out in LA now doing some film stuff and just working really hard to get his stuff out there. And he was so excited every day to show up and work, and that was awesome, because that's not always how it is.
Well, and like the local businesses and stuff were totally cool with having you come by and.
Yeah, well, a lot of them, you know, we've been there for a while now, and the arts community is thriving, but it's small. So we know a lot of owners of bars or cafes or whatever, you know, and that made it a lot easier for us to shoot in places. And we called in favors, of course, from everyone we could think of for, you know, my old house is in there and my neighbor's house. So we could do the trick-or-treating scene, and my house has been shot at too many times. Oh no, my house is in there. We did shoot a scene in my house, but we really used, you know, who we knew, and they love being a part of it, which is very different from LA.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's like, because I'm sure in some level too, it's like they know you're there.
Right. And they like it. It's like, oh, this should be done here. This is a cool thing, and we want to be a part of it. And people turned out. It was really nice.
Well, I know that you haven't released the film, you haven't premiered it yet,
right.
But you were able to show a version of it for people in Duluth.
Yes.
Can you talk a little bit about how was it like? Did folks all get a chance to come in and see what they've been kind of seeing happen or helping with,
or just hearing about? We had a phenomenal response. We had the theater for one screening. And we were just taking RSVPs because it was just kind of a donation thing to help us kind of get the film done, and so we could get some DVDs made and send it out to festivals and whatever. And so we were just kind of doing RSVPs, and we'll take some donations at the door, and please come and support us. And by about 5-6 days out, I was like, we need another time slot. So, and it's a small theater. I think it's like 100 seats or whatever, but we ended up selling out both screenings, and people emailing me for the week after saying, I missed it, when can I see it again? And so it was great to have that, you know, see it kind of come full circle and see people that had been a part of it or had supported us in some way or just had heard about it and or had been a musician on it or known somebody, you know, so it was a lot of fun.
So now, like, because you're up there, and does the UMD partner with you guys in a lot of ways, because you're doing this production work up there? You know, and you're such a natural resource to anybody who's in school. We
haven't formally done that. We have talked about doing an internship. It's a lot of red tape when it gets into a university setting. Yeah. So it's been more, you know, we work with some of the profs up there that we had years ago, and like our costume designer, Pat Dennis, she also did the makeup and hair. We needed a makeup and hair assistant because she couldn't be there every day. Well, she was able to have this rich, you know, pool to pull from of who would be good in that position and who wants to learn this. You know, doing makeup for HD cameras is a lot different than doing makeup for stage, but, you know, equally viable in the workplace for sure. So people like that, we kind of were able to kind of cull the talent from UMD in an unofficial way, I guess. But some of our actors came from there as well, and yeah, some PAs and.
Well, I want to watch another clip. This scene, this is called the proposal scene, and as in good Duluth fashion, it all centers around a nice dark beer.
Right.
Yes. Let's take a look.
I only count.
Do it 2 ways?
Yeah. Thank you. Okay, try this. You don't like it. He's a beer.
Why would you say that?
Because you are.
A beer.
He is. He only drinks light beer.
I do not.
All right. This one's yours. I'll have another.
Actually, she's gonna drink this one. I'll just take whatever you've got that I can see through the easiest.
I want it.
Would you like me with a great big beer belly? Because we can go down that path.
I would like you anywhere, anytime. Except maybe right now. Cheers. Ooh, that's good.
You know how everybody always says that there are two kinds of people in the world? You know, like those who like Spam and those who don't.
Oh, I fall firmly in the second category on that one. Mystery meat? No, thank you. Don't tell me you're a Spam eater.
Well, I have eaten it, like in casseroles or whatnot, but I don't prepare it for myself, if that's your concern.
Oh, God, if it wasn't for bacon, I wouldn't eat pig at all. They're very intelligent animals.
Bacon is delicious, but that's not my point.
What is your point?
My point is that there are actually millions of kinds of people in the world.
Oh, I totally agree. We all have our own set of inputs. We're like snowflakes.
Right, exactly. And we're just trying to find that matching snowflake.
But you can't. No two are alike. You'll never find one snowflake the same as another.
Well, close enough.
What, are we playing horseshoes?
I beg your pardon?
Close only counts in...
No, I'm just lobbing hand grenades.
I think it's beautiful and lonely. I want to be totally unique.
Lonely sucks.
But beautiful balances it out. You can't have everything.
I guess not.
Wait, I'm sorry. What were you saying?
I've completely forgotten.
No, you didn't.
I did.
You're a turd.
Is that a step up or down from beer?
That's a lateral move.
Carrie, this scene has a lot of great humor in it. And at the same time, it's dealing with the issues of, you know, relationship and whether or not we're going to be alone and how do we find love and how do we do that and how do we do that and still kind of keep a sense of humor about ourselves. Mm-hmm. Is that a piece of why what drew you to this story to be your first, you know, feature director's debut?
Yeah, you know, we kind of bill it as a romantic comedy, but it's also a romantic comedy with a sucker punch, which you haven't gotten to yet, so I won't ruin anything. But I think there's a lot of humor in life, and there's a lot of crap that we deal with every day, and it's monotonous and it can be depressing and whatever, but there's humor in it too, and that's the good stuff, the little bits of goodness. And you see throughout the film Riley with his friends and how they're kind of the comic relief for this guy who's kind of stuck in a rut. But those are the little gems that we take, and those are the things that you remember 30 years down the line, is you remember what a good time you had with your friends, laughing and having this crazy game and whatever. You don't hopefully get dragged down into all the sadness that can be part of life too.
So I know that this film is, you know, like you're still kind of figuring out where you're going to premiere it.
Right.
But outside of like, there's some details you obviously aren't going to know until you know where it's going to land.
Right.
But what's your hopes for this?
I'd like to get into a big festival. It doesn't have to be Sundance, that'd be fine. But something that has a good reputation and has potential for it to go to other festivals, to get a DVD or an on-demand deal or you know, just something so that people see it. I mean, I'm really proud of this. I think it's a beautiful film. I'm so proud of the people I worked with that did an amazing job at everything they did. The music in the film is phenomenal. We had such an awesome soundtrack that it's just fun to listen to, you know, and I want it to end up, you know, all over the place and to show off Duluth and you know, kind of say, hey, we can do it up here too. We're not just cold.
For 1 month out of the year, you're not just cold. Yeah.
Exactly.
No, I think Duluth is a beautiful town, and you do a really good job of showcasing it in this piece. With 4-track films, do you have other projects that are in the works that you got your eye focused on, or you need to stay on this one until this one goes to where it needs to go?
I'm taking the role of shepherding this to get it out the door where it needs to go. My producing partner Jason is just starting a new film this fall that he's working on. It's another relationship movie that he's shooting. And again, it's set in Duluth. Well, it's convenient, we're in Duluth. So that's kind of what he's working on this fall. So we're kind of taking separate paths a little bit to get that done.
Now, as you're doing all this work up there, you're keeping relationships obviously within the Twin Cities area,
absolutely.
But are you also keeping relationships, with folks in LA and?
Yeah, we have a producer on this film, Kirk Roos. He is actually in LA, and he is kind of our man out there who's, he's with an agency and he's got more contacts and kind of knows how to play that game a little better than we do in Duluth. You can do a lot of things long distance, but it's pretty hard to schmooze your film at a cocktail party long distance. So, we're kind of letting him take the lead on a lot of that stuff and working on those relationships to see what festivals are a good fit and where the film can end up.
Now, this is a big question, so you might not have an answer for this. But I just, it's a really deliberate choice to decide to move back to Duluth, and even to move there and not move to the Twin Cities. I still think it's, a hard feat to come to the Twin Cities to decide to, launch a film career like this. But then to also choose Duluth,
right.
You must have a vision for what you'd like to see happening in that community. Have you thought about that, about where you'd like to see Duluth in 15, 20 years?
Yeah, and since we moved back, there's been a huge explosion in the art scene. Not to say that it wasn't there before, but I would say the last 10, 15 years has really, there's so much going on in Duluth. In theater, there's plays opening almost every week. Sometimes you can't get to them in time. And that's a good sign to me. That's like a thriving scene. There's art shows happening. The music is ridiculous. There's always somebody playing somewhere. And there's been more film happening too. More people making films, doing short films, we have our own version of the 48-hour Film Fest, but it's a 2-week long thing, and it is in conjunction with the Homegrown Music Fest, where people draw a random song out of somebody who's performing or one of the CDs that they have from previous years, and they have to make a video. Just they may have never heard of this song before, and so a lot of people are trying it out. And the Free Range Film Festival is up there now in Renshaw. Sound Unseen does a festival up there. They did it earlier in June. So there's a lot more awareness, I think, as to what could be happening, and it gets people excited. And I'm excited because it's not like a totally foreign thing now to be, I make films in Duluth. Well, yeah, that could be done. Filmmakers don't make money anyway, so you might as well live somewhere that you want to live.
So, but you've done it. You've made several films, but this is your first director's film. How can folks find this film?
Well, keep tuned to our website, 4trackfilms.com. You can follow us on Twitter, find us on Facebook, and we'll be spreading the word as soon as we know where it's going.
And I hope that we have a huge showing here in the Twin Cities.
Yeah, I hope so too. We have to keep a preview or a premiere under wraps until hopefully we get into a big festival. But as soon as we can, we will, for sure.
Great. Thank you for watching this episode of Butter City, a show all about filmmaking with a little bit of a Minnesota twist. And thank you, Carrie, for being on the show again. Please check us out on our website at buttercity.com. We're on Facebook, and we tweet too. See you soon. Thank you.